Hey everybody. I'm gonna try something a little bit different. The number one complaint I get in my videos is that you can't hear me talking, or like the music's too loud, the music's too distracting, we can't hear you, you talk too softly over the music. So we're not getting rid of the music. I got a clip mic, so hopefully this solves some of the audio problems. So I've been doing a ton of molding and casting. I'm working on a new, like, modular kind of wall system. So a long time ago, I did these guys. This is just casting plaster, and I did a mold that it's a technically I think it's called a block mold, where you kind of like you just pour a block of the silicone around your molded or your molded piece, and then you like cut shapes out of it. Like this guy kind of has a zigzag shape on the side where the molds pull apart. So I just did this one little door section, but I was planning on keeping going with this and making wall sections that would fit together. But the only problem with these is that they're very top heavy. That's the main problem. And then also they're 4 inches by 4 inches. And then this is supposed to be a 2-inch gap in between for little dudes to run through. But there's nothing to really delineate like a grid system on these. Like everything else that I've been making, it's pretty easy to just kind of count out like in inches with movement for like Frostgrave, especially the way that we like to play Frostgrave. And then the stuff that I use for Warcry, none of it is more than 3 inches tall. And there's good reasons for that, like in Warcry and Frostgrave, why you don't really want, or you kind of want things to, the floor height to be like 3 inches. Like the typical movement for someone in Frostgrave is like 6 inches, and then you cut that in half when they're climbing. So you want to be able to kind of get them to the top of it in one movement. So it's a little bit like metagamey, but there's reasons why I wanted to do these a different way. And I like these. I still have this mold. I haven't chopped it up to recycle it yet, turn it into a new mold. But I wanted to work on a system that would work better. These guys, I 3D printed these guys, and I really like these too. But the thing about these, like, these are ultra lightweight, and this is too heavy. Like these, the feet are teeny tiny, and then there's all this plaster up here. So it's very, very top heavy and like wobbly. So I had to put a footer thing on it so that it wouldn't tip over when it's being used. And then these are kind of the same thing. It's not quite so, it doesn't really have any weight to it because the 3D printing, the way that it does this lattice thing and like honeycomb kind of pattern inside. So it's very, very lightweight, but it also wants to kind of just topple over. And then both of these are 4 inches by 4 inches. And then these are really cool. This is a free thing that I got off Thingiverse. I tipped the guy. I can't remember. I gave him, kicked him a few bucks because I thought his design was really cool. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to make some new like wall and like arch kind of systems for ruins that kind of click together like Legos, so that even if they are kind of top heavy, they won't fall over, or like they can sort of key into other things. And then also they have a more substantial, like kind of best of both worlds. So what I did was, first off, I started with, I got these, I ordered some, these are model railroad retaining walls. And then this is O scale. So O scale, basically heroic scale miniatures. Like this is like a GW, pretty much like true 28 millimeter scale mini. Here's a WizKids NECA mini. And then here's a Game of Thrones mini. So the Games Workshop, they're probably the closest to like true 28 millimeter, unless you're like a Stormcast Eternal, then you're 7 feet tall and you eat rocks and shit lava, like Space Marine. But these are probably the closest to like true 32 millimeter. These WizKids NECA guys for like Dungeons and Dragons, and then these Game of Thrones guys run a little bit bigger. But these are the ones that I typically use for like Frostgrave and stuff. Frostgrave minis, like the official North Star minis, they're very much like true 28 millimeter. But you can use them together; they look fine. So. But this is O scale, and like these are really cool. But if I was going to redo all of these, I think that like I ordered some of this. This is HO scale. This just showed up the other day, so you can kind of see what the minis look like next to it. And then there's a reason why I want these to be a little bit, have more detail, less undercuts, and then be a little bit less deep. And I'll get back to that. I'll circle around to that. But if I was going to do it over again, I would have used some HO scale stuff. So I just chopped these up into sections, and then this is just like a rigid foam. You could probably even cut this with like a foam cutter. I just used a carpet knife, an Alpha knife to do sections, and I wanted a big wall section so that I could cast up big pieces of wall in case I wanted to do a big thing later. But I'm not gonna, nothing on my Frostgrave table is gonna be this tall, at least not yet. So I just future-proofed it. So I did, let's see, this mold, this gigantic guy. So this section, these are 4x3. So which is like the exact size that I wanted. I wanted them to be 4 inches wide, 3 inches tall, and it has two whole casts of this side, and then there's a piece of MDF sandwiched in between, and it has these little wings on it. And then the wings, I designed them so that they could clip into some pillars or like other wall sections. So like originally I carved up a piece of foam. This is insulation foam, and I was going to make some casts to just make some little wall sections where I could kind of like just turn it, and then it would look like different on each side. But what I ended up doing finally was these guys. So these wall sections just kind of clip in there, And then I have some arches, you know, that go along with them. And then they all just kind of key together like that. So I can use these like modular, and then, you know, have whatever kind of thing that I want to build out of them, that just whatever kind of wall section or whatever I want to make. And then I use some Herstarts molds to make these like pillar things. And I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna do like a separate video, like a part 2 video about using the Herstarts molds, because they're their own animal. It's a totally different thing. But these guys have these are a bunch of, well, it's a combination. I made a few little molded pieces, and then there's a piece of insulation foam on the inside, and then I cut out a section on the bottom kind of as an afterthought, because what I was thinking of doing was making a little cap on the top of it like this, so that they can snap together like Legos, where this thing, focus on this, this thing, it has a little insert in the bottom, and then it can go snap into another one that's just like it, and then I can have, like, you know, my wall sections that, like, I can build bigger things out of this. So it's inspired by like Legos and stuff. So yeah, I did, first up, you know, I did this giant mold out of the O scale retaining wall. I think, I can't remember what brand it was, but I personally really like these knock ones. The knock stuff, it has really nice detail, and it's just a really high quality product. I think these are like, they run like $10. So people just buy these for their model railroad and then make, you know, sections like on their layout out of these. So they're not expensive, and then you can chop them up to make your wall sections. Or, you know, like me, you could make a mold and then just make as many as you want. So what I did, though, originally was I had this idea for, I wanted to make like a portal type thing, like this, where it has like a little cutout, you know, in the middle, that the wall sections, that I would just cast them up in 2 sections and then put them back to back. And then, you know, it's very easy to do a dump mold like this, where you pour it in. You pour in the plaster this way, and then you just have your 2 complete sections, and then you smush them together. But the problem is that I chopped up a piece of the model railroad wall, you know, to make the right shape. And then I had these, I took a piece of cereal box. Yeah, I took a piece of cereal box, and then I tried to sculpt the Roman arch out of plastilina clay, because you can sculpt in plastilina and then cast in silicone, and that's what it's meant for. Like, that's the perfect thing that it's meant for, is making casts for you know, like doing bronze or resin, or, you know, plaster or whatever. But anyways, the problem is that I'm just not that good of a traditional sculptor. Like, I'm much better at doing, like, carving up pieces of, like, foam, like insulation foam or foam board, and making stuff out of that. So, yeah, I finished this design, and I used I didn't use the right kind of silicone to make these either. It's just the stuff that I had lying around the studio. This is basically, this stuff is not very rigid. It's like a very pliable silicone. It's the type of thing that you would want to use to make like, well, it's not good for this, basically. And I just had some lying around the studio. But the thing about silicone is that you can chop it up. Like if you have a mold that you're not using anymore, you can chop it up and then use it as filler to make other molds. So, I don't feel bad. Like I prototyped it and then I can recycle it, put it into another mold. I don't think I'm going to keep this one. I think I'm going to chop it up, turn it into a new mold. But this was my my like prototype piece. And then, I originally did like the little plastilina sections, and then my plan was to cast that up and then attach them to the wall sections after I had cast it out of these. But then I decided to take the plastilina and then put it on top of the just cut another section out of the model railroad retaining wall stuff and then do it that way. So it didn't really work, right? So that was my first attempt. So then my second attempt, what I did was I made a new mold, and then or actually this wasn't my second attempt. My second attempt, which actually looks really good, I really like it, was this guy. And then this one has, I did some experimental kind of cutouts for it. Like there's a little gate, a little, what do you call that? Forget what those are called. This one has a little gate piece that goes into it, or like if I have, this is like another, a stone wall, kind of just a cutout. So I can put that in there, to make wall sections where it's like slightly recessed. Or like I could even, if I wanted to, I could make like some wood, like maybe some shop fronts, or something. Like if I wanted to use these in a little town setting or, whatever. So, but the problem with these was, what I did was I took a cast. I took another piece of cereal box, and then I cut out the right shape out of the cereal box, and then I did like a partial cast of this one, like stuck it in there, and then did a partial cast. And this section is something that I carved out of foam board. So I took a piece of cheap Hobby Lobby foam board that is like about a 1/2 inch thick, and then the Hobby Lobby foam board is like the dollar store foam board. The stuff just the paper just peels off like a sticker, right? But the Hobby Lobby foam board, it's a little bit more rigid. It's a little bit better for like carving stuff out of, I feel like. But the backing is cheap enough where the paper just comes off, like a sticker still. I mean, it's a little bit tougher to peel off than the dollar store foam core. But I feel like it's better for doing like carving into and doing sculpting, because it's a little bit more rigid, and then it's kind of like more open cell, I guess. Open cell, yeah. But it's a more rigid foam. So the problem is that I wasn't careful enough when I cast up when I did the finished sculpt, so that the foam board sections don't quite line up. There's a little gap in between on both sides, and you don't really notice it that much unless you look really close at it, and then it's even less noticeable if there's like a little piece of, gate in there. But I notice it. I know that it's there. So what I ended up doing was I used that. I was like, okay, well, that's going to be my next prototype piece. And then this one, I still have the mold from this one too. This is like Hobby Lobby used to be that you could go to Hobby Lobby and then you could use a 40% off coupon every time that you went to Hobby Lobby. So I would get their version of the good silicone, the good portable silicone, and I would use my 40% off coupon to knock it down from $20 to, whatever it is. But they stopped doing that. So I went ahead and got the good stuff. I got I used Smooth On Platinum 30, and that stuff, that's what's for if you're doing dump mold pieces like this, that's the stuff that you really want. It's really super, super durable. It has a lot of compressive strength, and then the molds will just last forever. Like this was the next one that I did, and then I did a better job with this one of making sure that these pieces lined up. And also, since they're, slightly top heavy, what I did was I made a couple of little footer pieces. So I can take the sections, like these two sections, they line up perfectly. And then I actually carved this one myself out of a piece of foam board. I didn't use any of the model railroad retaining wall texture thing. I just carved this out of a chunk of foam board, and then made sure that I was really careful to make sure that I had everything exactly where it was supposed to be on my my grid system layout. So if you're going to do something like this, I really, really recommend that you get a self-healing cutting mat. The one that I like is it's a Fiskars is the brand, and it's for sewing. But it has inches laid out on a grid system, so it's really easy to tell what you're doing. When you're carving out shapes and you're doing gluing things together, it really, really helps to just have that grid thing laid out on it so that you can see what you're doing when you're gluing them together. So this piece, this is kind of like the final arch design that I came up with. And I really like both of these. They look really cool. But I made the arches key together like that. So they key together perfectly. You don't notice it at all if they're lined up. And then I made a couple of these footer pieces to go on the on the feet. So I can take this mold, right? And then I can cast it twice. So I either cast this arch or this arch. One of them has a little capstone in it, and then this one is actually, I took the plastilina and then did a partial mold of my other mold, and then did a foam core arch. And then this one is I carved the whole thing out of foam core. And then I carved out some little footer pieces. So I can do 2 complete casts of this, pick 1 arch, and then I cast this one once, these once, and then pull those out, do it again, and then I have a complete one of these. So, and then it has a little cutout in the, focus. It has a little cutout in here where I can stick some like granny grating, you know? That's what this stuff is. This is just, this is for knitting. I don't even know what it's actually called. The slang term is granny grating. That it's used for like doing like needlepoint stuff. So I can do a little insert that goes in like that, or whatever kind of insert that I want. And then it just fits in there. But I actually like this a little better because this just slides freely, this design. So where's the one that's like halfway there? This one, this is not painted, and then I have these cast up to stick in for the feet. But what I did was I carved out some new pieces like this that have a little groove cut into the side, so that I can do like little gate sections like these that'll just slide freely in and out, which is pretty accurate to how they would do that in like a castle, or they would cut a stone shape that has a little divot in the middle for the iron gate to slam down through. But these ones are like the final kind of prototype. And then they have these little wings on the side. So yeah, that's a whole nother thing. When I was messing around with this design, what I was thinking was that I want them to not be like top heavy at all, or if they are top heavy, I want them to be able to sort of snap into something. So originally, what I had the idea to do was I wanted to have my own like cast piece thing where these wall sections would sort of clip into it. And then I was thinking, oh well, I'll just do a like a wing thing that sticks out, and then I'll do wall sections, and then I'll just cast up like 3 of these, and then rotate them so that they look, different, and then have my pillar things that these snap into, and that's incredibly sturdy and stable. Like, it's not tipping over. And it doesn't matter, how much people are messing with it when we're playing on it, it's not going anywhere. But what I ended up doing instead, which I'm kind of proud of, like I love how these look, is I did these things. And then these are Hearst arts, or this is made mostly from Hearst arts pieces. So I got 2 molds from Hearst arts, and I'm not going to get too much into the Hearst arts molds, like how they work, and like how to cast them and stuff like that, because I'm going to do a separate video about these, because they're kind of their own animal. But again, like very much like Legos, like it feels very much like Legos, like you're sort of putting things together like that. And these guys, what I did was I took a bunch of Hearst arts pieces, and then I did a couple of my own little chunks too of things that I wanted to add, and then I glued them to a 1-inch square piece of insulation foam, So these are super, super lightweight, like I can just hold it with my pinky. And then I made a little, I did a design where I can like snap them together like Legos. Like there's a little gap in here on the inside. So if I have two complete ones of these, and then these are, I even did my own like recast section of some Herstarts molds, like some completed pieces that I wanted to like recast myself, so that I can make this a lot quicker, making these like complete columns, and then this insert, and then these. So it's like basically every time I cast, I have, you know, a big section of this done. So I can bang these out pretty quick, like an assembly line. But they also, you know, will snap together on top of each other because this little piece sticks into this one. So, and then they look really cool just hanging out on their own, just sitting on the table. But yeah, I just wanted to show some of the process of like how I made these molds and how they're supposed to work. Yeah, the whole reason why I wanted to just have the wing part that kind of sticks in on the top was so that these wouldn't be able to topple over. Like I actually like having this just by itself. Like I was kind of inspired by like Necromunda terrain. How their terrain kind of looks. And this is like the same kind of idea where it's like a sort of modular system that you can put together, like rearrange however you want, and then you have your your sections of like floor. Like I want to make some scaffolding kind of sections next to go along with this stuff. So you can kind of see how everything fits together on this grid system. Just snaps together like that. And then, I want to make some like scaffolding kind of stuff so that people can climb around on it and just have this really cool like ruined city, like Frostgrave or Warcry. I really want to use them for Warcry too. But a really cool kind of modular setup. And like everything for me, like it needs to be modular because storage is an issue. Like I don't want to have a giant board of things it can only be stored in one place, upright or whatever. I just want to be able to like kind of throw them all into a milk crate and then put it into my IKEA Kallax and then just have it, stored. So anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. And I'm going to do a part 2 video. And whoa, geez. I'm going to talk about the Herstarts stuff, and then I think I'm going to do like a painting video too. And the Herstart stuff is really cool. I found a way to like cast things up to kind of get a really cool looking ruined effect on it, So I'm going to talk about that too. But yeah, we'll get into that next time. So thanks for watching and take care of yourselves until the next time I see you.